Hello, everybody. Welcome to the webinar, Become an Inspiring Leader Through Intentional and Coherent Living, Crafting a Purpose-Driven Journey with Work in Your Life. Why is this webinar important to you? And what are you going to learn? We are today living in a life that is very challenging. We really want to live a fulfilled life, work in a corporation or in any job, any work that you have. At the same time, we have so much expectations that maybe somebody put on us or we put in ourselves. And we want to be authentic. We want to live our purpose. We want to make our decisions in a way that we live comfortably and in peace. But sometimes we have to make some decisions in our work, in our professional and private life, that they do not align with what we wanted. And many of these is also managing our emotions that are raised according to the different parts of our lives. So how we do this? How we live a coherent life, being authentic in different parts of our lives and be fulfilled. I am Lara Bezerra, and I am here because I want to share a little of my life. During my life, I had lots of challenges. But at the same time, I have achieved things that I am very proud of, not because of the success of my professional life, but how I could balance my life and be able to do my life and my work together. I was the first female CEO of Bayer in Latin America when I went to Venezuela, the same in Roche. I was the first female also to be the chair of the Venezuelan German Chamber in Venezuela. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I went through so many challenges and doubts, even dark moments, but I learned to love working in a corporation, and I want to share it with you. I learned that I could love my work and have a balanced life. I will share you a little my story. I am a Brazilian. I am daughter of a Japanese mother and a Brazilian father, both of them medical doctors. With them being medical doctors, I learned that you have to have a profession that has a calling. At the same time, I decided that I didn't want to live under their shadows. I wanted to have my own life. So I decided to do business administration. And by doing business administration, I started a completely different life from what they had. At the same time, I wanted to be happy. I wanted really to be happy. And when I was 13 years old, with my grandfather that was Japanese, I was talking to him and I was asking him, you are always happy. Everything is okay. Even now that grandma has died, you are happy. How do you do this? And he gave me one of the most important advice of all my life. He told Lara, the younger you get wiser, the longer you will be happier. And this was something that stuck to me in a way that I had these two different sources of knowledge. If you are wiser, faster, you can be happier longer. And at the same time, you have to work with something that is a calling, that you like it, something for you to be successful. So having these both sides, I went to business administration, and I went starting to work in healthcare, in pharmaceutical companies. All this journey with business administration and pharmaceutical industries brought me at 32 years old to Hungary. Before, I was living in Germany, and I was offered, when I was 32 years old, to be the managing director, general manager of Bayer in Hungary. It was very good. I loved it. I was very proud, and I loved that I was very close to people, and I had this power to have impact on people, being in a country that you can make a difference. At the same time, I had lots of advice from different people that being a leader now and being the head of a country, I have to keep this distance from people. I have to learn to control things, focus on numbers. I could not be so emotional. And one very important thing, I could not share with anybody things about spirituality or things that I was going on in my life, things that I was learning. And for me, it was always so important to share everything that I was living to the people that were around me. But I was told that I couldn't do it. And it really started to be a very big struggle inside me about leaving this mask in my professional life and have everything that was going on with me in my personal life. Why? At this time in Hungary, I started to do yoga, and I started to love the philosophy of yoga. I understood how much this spirituality can transform your life. So I had these both sides of my life. I was growing in my spiritual life, and I was growing my professional life. And then one day, in a retreat of yoga that I had, that it was like a whole weekend, I was there for, I think it was already Friday arrived. It was very nice. And then we had a very nice Saturday. I was very engaged. I was helping everybody. And then in the dinner, we had a discussion, and they were starting to talk about how bad corporations, and mainly pharmaceutical companies, they were for the world, how bad impact they had. And I was there sitting, thinking, do I agree or not? I don't think that I am doing this. But yes, there are some things that don't align. Yeah, because here we are telling that we have to give ourselves, we have to live an intense life, an integral life, something so much connected. And then suddenly in my work, I had different thoughts. At that time, I thought, I am the head of a pharmaceutical company here in Hungary. What should I tell? And I didn't know. You know what I did? I just, in the middle of the night, I just grabbed my things and I just sneaked out. I ran away of the retreat. And then it was 1 week that I was very much struggling to tell, what is that I want? I have to choose between both. Either I want to be spiritual and I want to do this, or I want to do this corporate world. What should I do? And as always, I called my mother. My mother was always my guru. My mother always was kind of mentor for me, that I went to her to ask for advice. And I was telling, Mom, I decided to go to India. I will resign because I know what I want from my life. I want to bring spirituality to this world. I want to do good. So I want to go to India. I want to learn the philosophy of yoga. I want to spread this to the world. So I think that I will resign. And she, in her wise way and knowing her Scorpio daughter so well, she told me, you know, Lara, I think that is a very good idea. You should go because it's much easier for you to go to India and then to have people who want to know about spirituality is much easier than being in a corporation where people really need spirituality, but they struggle to live it. And then I was very like challenged. It's not because it's easier. It's just because it's the right thing to do. And she told, is it really? And with this, it was so amazing because I told, what? Why I am telling that is either or? My mother taught me better. Why not both and? What if I am supposed to be in the system and not against the system and make this that I really believe a very good place? How can I bring this to the corporations? This was the moment that I decided that I want to bring spirituality to the corporations, and my leadership style came to be a leadership style that would bring spirituality to the workplace. And this is how my journey started of going beyond Harvard learnings, whatever business coaches are teaching you. I started really to dig very, very deeper, reading like spiritual intelligence, reading Dana Zohar, that is a quantum physicist that talks about this connection of spirituality and physics. My mother gave me this book, or the Tao, or a book like Leading from the Emerging Future from Otto Scharmer. I started to try to see how can I bring spirituality in different ways to the work. And I was working with this so strongly, but so strongly. And then suddenly, 2006, my mother passed away. And somehow it was like, I have now to figure things out by myself. What is that it brings to me? What is the learning that I have to have here? And from this, I started to understand that something is very clear. There was one insight that I had that it was clear for me. All this connection that my mom wanted to bring to life, she wanted to understand the connection of everything. And I wanted to find the connection that would bring the spirituality and the corporate world, so the professional and the private life together. And there was one thing that I understood from everything that I read. Human beings are one. Wherever I was in Mexico, Portugal, Brazil, Hungary. And the one thing that all human beings had in common is that they wanted to belong to something bigger that would make a difference. They wanted to be valued. They really wanted to do something in their lives that they would be proud of. From this day on, I started to live something very different. And I understood that what I had to do in life was one thing. I had to bring this to the corporate space, to the work. People needed to feel that they were doing something bigger and greater in their work, so they could align their own individual purpose with their corporation purpose, so they could live something extraordinary. And this is how my journey to work with purpose started. And this is when I landed in 2011 in Bayer, Venezuela, as president of the group. And this brought me in Venezuela to be headhunted by Roche, and I became president of Roche in Venezuela. And the interesting thing is that I was so clear of what I wanted, how I wanted to live. And I was like even proud of this, that in the interview with the CEO of Roche, when I was in Basel to be interviewed, I had 1 hour interview that he asked me a question. What do you think that is the most important thing for you to have productivity results in your job, in your corporation as a president, as a CEO? And I told, I think that is to make people happy and fulfilled in their jobs. And he asked, how? And I told, I am trying to implement in Bayer, Venezuela, the GNH, the gross national happiness, that is the measure of Bhutan, of their prosperity as a country. There are 35 indexes there, and I'm trying to implement it. He was curious, and I spent 1 hour talking about it. I thought I didn't get this job. And amazingly enough, I got the job because of this, because they knew that I had to bring something to the people, to the teams, and work for them to get the best out of them so the business could have its result. And this is what I did in Venezuela for 4 years. And then I was invited to go to India. And that time, the lady who was the head of the region, she invited me to go to India, and she told that she believed in me and she wanted me to do exactly what I knew, and she wanted me to lead the way that I believed. And I went to India to do everything that I believed. It was the dream job as a CEO of a country. And this brought me doing what I really believed and having an amazing team. From 2017 and 2019 that I was in India, we did so many things that just in these 2 years, there were so many comments and work about our work. We were business case in different books. So there are like 2 books that our job, our work as Roche India was featured as a business case. And my leadership with different people that I met, stakeholders, it was also featured as case, for example, in this leadership book of Mr. P.V. Murthy about the power of humility. I cannot describe how well I felt and how happy I was with this. And even more because the patients in India, they were impacted positively. And with this, when it arrived like 2019, and as absolutely everything happens for a reason, in 2019, it was changed, the leadership of the region for Roche. And there were a conflict of objectives between me and the new leader. And as magic, by the end, we entered in agreement and I left Roche, India. And for me, what was beautiful of this movement is that the day that it was announced that I would leave, the media had a cover immediately, and the words that they used about my exit of Roche India, it was like a surprise, but their phrase was, she helped build key initiatives for closer relationship with stakeholders and patients' communities. And for me, this was everything that I wanted. I was there to build connections. I was there to, through our work in our company, to make something greater. And this was the moment that I understood that I was given the chance to bring this to a much bigger level. This is exactly in 2020 when I decided to found my company, that is Work Coherence, and I started all this work that is started 3 years ago to build something that would help me to share with the world how to lead a coherent life with purpose. The result of this was that I had to put on paper, I had to understand, if you want to share how to have a model for living a life or a leadership that is coherent, how would you do? Because in many interviews, many speeches that I was giving, people asked me this. And this came to be my new purpose, that is this model. Is exactly what I want to share with you here in this webinar, is these 4 columns of my module. So there is the integrality column, there is the intentionality module, the coherence and lifelong learning. And this is the journey of an individual that wants to become so inspiring that he or she will be naturally a leader, because a true leader inspires people by their way of living. And people want to follow because they really believe that this person is going to the right direction. So what are these 4 pillars? The integrality is very easily seen in my life. At a moment that, okay, I was connected, my private life, my work, my friends, okay, it was everything connected. And then suddenly my spirituality, so what I was becoming, the person I was becoming, it was not fitting into everything, because I was seeing separatedly. I could not see my whole life. I could not see my whole impact. And I could not see how different areas of my life, how they were impacting who I was becoming. And I thought that past is past, future is future, present is here. I separated everything. Suddenly, when I saw the integrality of everything, and I understood that everything that I would do would have a consequence, it changed completely. So I put together, when I understand the integrality of my life, and I saw it as a whole, it changed completely. So the integrality is to see your life. How do you see your life as a whole? When you make this shift in your mind and you look at yourself at the mirror and you see that you are part of this whole connected world around you, the universe, people, past, present. And when you see this in a click that you are part of it, it changes completely. And then comes the second pillar, that is the intentionality. As says in the definition of the dictionary of karma, is the whole ethical consequence of one's act. It becomes your fate, your destiny. When you understand that every word that you have, every thought that comes to you, every action that you decide to have has a negative or positive impact in everybody. When you understand this and you decide to live intentionally, when you decide that this is what you want in your life, everything changes. Absolutely everything changes. Because then you start to live an intentional life. When you live an intentional life, you start to see how you want to live your life, what kind of human being you want to be. And this human being you start to see everywhere. And you do not disconnect it. Living an intentional life is to creating your destiny, creating your fate. And what I call this is exactly the coherence. How you live a coherent life. Living a coherent life is being oneself wherever you are. Is bringing your spirituality to the work, bringing your work to your spirituality. And here is an example. When I was in India, do you remember my struggle? Should I go to India to do all my yoga and learn everything? Or should I be in a corporate world? Both end. And this is the proof of it. This is one interview that I gave to LiveMeet in India, and they call me the new age leaders of Simantra. Hugs, yoga, and fine for calling her man. So everything that I believed, everything I lived in my work. And being myself authentic and being able to translate this to my work made me an example. And why I want to bring this example of myself to you? Because I am not a person that is different from any of you. Maybe many of you have much more chance than I had to become something greater. Maybe the difference is what I believed in. Maybe the difference is what my mother believed that I could do, because she believed that if you know what you want to be, you will be. And not seeing limitations and not myself limiting me by the limiting thoughts, limiting beliefs that we always have would change everything. And a very important next column of this is exactly to understand the lifelong learning. It's how you understand, how you learn, how when you have this kind of insight that you tell, I think that this is this way, how you get proofs and how within your life cycle you continue to learn, because maybe you found your harmony and then suddenly you get married or you get a promotion, something happens, you lose your mother, and then how you come back to this harmony. This is a constant learning. But more than everything is, what do you want to become? What is your purpose in life? And this is a very interesting study of a professor in Harvard of psychology, and he made a research of 19,000 people, different ages, and he was asking them to see, what do you see from yourself? How do you see you developing change in the next 10 years? And what they would describe was very different from what they would see when they would see 10 years before what was the change that you had. And they saw that everyone always thought that they would change less in the next 10 years than what they have changed. So everybody underestimates how they will change. And it's very interesting, this study, because they call like the history of illusion, is that you think that you will not change. The point here is, if you know that you will change and you visualize to what you want to change, the possibility of this becoming true is immense. It's like if this caterpillar who entered in this cocoon would see the butterfly that they would become. Like I wanted to see in 2005 that I want to be a leader that would bring spirituality, that would be authentic and live my life as it was in the corporations. Everybody is able to look him or herself 10 years ahead and tell, this is what I want to be. This is the kind of person I want to be. And when you are sure of your purpose and why I want to be this and what I want to become, it's much easier for you to really create the life that you dream, the person you want to become, the person that you really are proud to be. And this authenticity helps you also with your career, because an authentic person is much easier to be fit in another position, into a promotion, because everybody knows what this person will do, will be, and how this person is developing and becoming. Remember this, 10 years from now, you will be a very different person from the person that you are today. Do you want this to be a passive or active challenge? You will choose it, because if you want what you want to become, this will happen. And how can you accelerate it? I had my mother that was a mentor that accelerated hugely my journey. I found mentors that accelerate my life hugely. Today, I have a mentor that helps me during the whole year to bring myself to what I really believe and what I want, to be true to myself. My question is how you can accelerate your journey. Do you have a mentor? Do you have somebody that you go through that can check you in to become who you really are, that ask the right questions, that share experiences with you that can make you who you really want to be? Do you have? And here is a very important point. We live in an abundant life. Today, the options that we have are immense. You go to all the places and you see infinite possibilities for you to grow, for you to have help to grow. Many times you leave it to the last moment and then you just make a passive choice because this is what arrives to you and you want to do it right now. You don't have more time and I decide for this. But when you set your priorities with the abundance of time that you have and you make the right choice, you will be able to have really the right path of your life and have the right help when you need. So my question to you is, do you know how to make the right choices and to set your priorities correctly? This is something that I learned to do and that I challenge myself every day. And I am helping many people today to do this, that they come to me and ask, Lara, can you help me to just make the right choice? Can I see in the integrity of my life so I can understand what is the best path? And this is something that is a skill that everybody can learn. So I want you to make your choice and make it well. You will find your path, I promise you. What I would like is that when you are like 10 years from now, you just look back and tell, I made the right choices. And my decision in life was that I want to be here for the people that want to make these right choices. The point is that I really want to be here for the people who really understand that this is possible and they are really in the right moment of their lives that they want to do it. And one of the decisions that I made is that part of my help that I will give to people is that I will give 10 spaces of mentorship for the next year. I am opening up 10 spaces. And I want to follow the journey of these 10 people for 6 months, once a month, because I want to work with this. I am working in many other things that I want to share and help people. But right now, I am opening up this chance for the people that really want to make this change, this transformation in their lives. But I want to do this to the ones that they want to have a very clear purpose, because my purpose in life is to elevate humanity's consciousness. And I want to be close to people that will help me spread this. So I want to be close to people that I help, and this help that I give to people will make an impact in other people. So we together will make a community of spreading this elevation of consciousness and really living a life that we can make a very big impact in this world. So I am offering this together with this webinar, and I hope to see some of you there. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to me.